on trust. What does trust look like? I'm going to go through it. So, trust. Tell God you're willing to change your plans. Ooh, that's kind of a risk. I work with women, I do spiritual direction, and I tell them you need to pray, and you need to tell God that you're willing to do it His way. And they say, I don't hear God. I don't hear you. I said, what do you mean you don't hear me? I don't hear God. And I said, well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to teach you how to go. Oh, I don't know if I want to hear Him. I said, what? Because if I hear Him, I have to do what He told me to do. So if I don't hear Him, then, I don't have to do what He tells me to do because I can't hear Him. So, yeah, that's kind of the argument. So, tell God you're willing to do what He wants you to do, even if it's go wash your hands. Even if I'm driving along, I'll be driving along, and my husband, I wasn't planning on this, but my husband gave me $300 to decorate my guest room, which was actually one of the boys' room. And it looked like a boy's room with the gun rack and all that. But now they were married. And I never had girls. And so I wanted to change it. So John says $300 and you can decorate this room. What can you do with it, right? What can you do with it? Well, I'm going to go through the whole thing because it is in, I think, Where's the Water, the whole story. But I'm driving along, coming from Silverton, and I'm headed towards Malala, if you know that road. And there's a little white spot in the road where there's a restaurant there. And there used to be an antique store. Well, I hadn't paid any attention. I don't do antiques. But I'm driving along, and the Lord says, turn here. Says, turn where? I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Turn here. So I turn, and He says, go in this store. I'm decorating my room, and I've got special colors and everything. And He tells me to go in there and says, what am I looking for? He said, there's a picture. What? There's a picture that you've been looking for, and you're going to find it behind this desk. There's this desk over here, and between the wall and the desk is this picture that has a gold frame with roses, and it has the colors that I'm doing in my room. I pull that out. I would never have found it. And in fact, the sales lady said, how did you know that was there? I said, oh boy, do you really want to know? He pointed it out to me. And He did the whole room that way. He showed me where to go, told me how to do it, so I could stay within budget. So I realized, Lord, I know it wasn't about decorating this room. Yeah. What were you trying to show me? What were you trying to show me? He said, if you will let me, I will show you how to build a ministry. If you will let me, and you will walk and do what I tell you to do, I will show you how to do it. But you got to be willing, just like decorating the room, to follow me every step of the way. Yeah. It's amazing. It's an adventure, because sometimes you don't know where you're going or what to expect. So tell God you're willing to change your plans for His, and then reach out to God and experience growing pains, doing it a new way. Well, I've always done it this way. But the world is not standing still. Yeah. And if you've ever been, I live in the country, I told you that. And if you've ever looked in the forest in the country, if it's not green and growing, what's it doing? Dying. It's dying. It's brown and dying. So either you are growing and green and learning and moving forward, or you're dying. If you're staying the same, you're stagnant and you're dying. The Lord wants you to grow. He wants you to be transformed. So understand God's timing is not your timing. What did I tell you? He had me, I don't have my book, He had me sit down with Him in 1985. I went through this experience and He said, you're going to write a book. When I went to seminary, I was 53 years old, and it was 2004, my dad had just died, and I went to seminary. He says, okay, all this teaching you've been doing, pull that out of the notebooks, put it in a drawer. I'm going to show you how to do the Bible with the psychology stuff that you've been teaching. Okay? And when I graduated, then he told me, I'm going to show you how to write a book. Right. Now I'm going to write the book. That's when he brought Marsha on my side in 2008. And we started writing in 2009 after she pulled all the stuff out of my head. took us 2-3 years to write it. So how many years? You figure it out. 1985 to when the book was published, 2010. Sometimes you have to wait a long time for the Lord to come through on His promises. But He comes through, and He brings who you need and what you need and how you need to get there. But you have to be willing to reach out and grow through it. So the book wasn't coming from seminary, it was coming through my life. Yeah, it's a lot of years, coming through the life experiences I had. So you're willing to stand then in God's character. Be willing to be transformed. I told some of you in here when I sat with you that I've been abused as a kid. And so that definitely affected me. But I'm what they are called a dandelion kid. Dandelions, they grow no matter where you put them. You know, if you mow, you dig them up, the roots are so down that you can't ever get rid of them. Well, I am a dandelion. I will survive where there's very little water. I will survive where there's very little nutrient. I will survive because I have the Lord. I have the water I need, I have the nutrient I need from Him. From Him. Even though it doesn't come from my family background, it came directly from Him. And so He was able to have me give that out. And then you turn and follow His plan, though you cannot see. You know, when she was bitter, she definitely couldn't see. She couldn't see. But even when Ruth helped her remove those blinders, it's like that picture we had at the beginning where you're walking through the snow with no footprints. You can't see what's around the corner, but you trust Him. He knows what's around the corner. He knows what's coming. And He's already prepared you for it. Already prepared you for it.